start. Welcome to Design 105, everyone. Thank you for coming. Sorry for the crazy schedule change. As we're gearing up for week 3, there's some scheduling conflicts. So this week will be the only week that we have lecture on Monday, open lab on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. And then we'll resume normal business hours. Tuesdays and Thursdays will be week 4. But I believe we've got holiday stuff to talk about. I wanted to find out from you, how many of you guys are, let me share my screen, how many of you guys are following the announcements? Okay, good. Please stay alert. That's where I'm going to be putting stuff up. I notice when I get emails who's paying attention, who's reading them, who's not. So just stay up to date. I wanted to talk about, let's see, we've got our winter break. So we mentioned this last week, but I wanted to mention it again, kind of put another plug in. It's winter break for us coming up next week, and we'll talk more about that. I'll be emailing more announcements about that. But there's a scavenger hunt that the Winter Activities Committee has put together for students. Has anyone participated in something like this before? We're hoping you guys participate. They've attached a fact sheet here, and you can find this in the announcement section of your course homepage. If you have any questions, contact Whitney King. I believe they're going to be doing a gift card drawing. So if you're turning in assignments ahead of time or making deadlines, your name gets automatically entered into a drawing. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary as far as our class is concerned, but I think their objective is to keep you guys active in the lesson. So, or I'm sorry, in the class. So just pay attention to that. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. And I think, let's see, what else do we want to do? Are there questions? I want to open this up to questions before we jump in. Okay, so let's go with Marissa. Yes, daily checkpoints. So let's take a look at those. I believe you still do. It's just a break from class, but you'll still be graded on the daily checkpoints. I'll pull that up. That's a good question. Let's go to the quizzes because that will launch us into our next portion of our lecture, which is the questions. So let's take a look here. Week 3. Yeah, it looks like you've got week 3 daily questions, week 4, and I don't think you skip a beat. So you just kind of business as usual with your daily quizzes. The only thing that is different is you don't have lecture and you don't have open labs or assignments. So you don't have any homework, but you do have to check in daily. So that's a great question, Marissa. What's important to know about these daily checkpoints is it's how we take attendance in class. So yeah, even though we're on a break, it's how we keep you guys active. We can see that you still are active in the course. But really, it's only a few seconds of your time, maybe a few minutes of your time, and it's just one a day. So it shouldn't be a big deal. But I try to pencil that in, or what do you have to do to remember? But hopefully we don't miss out on those points. Because let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Yeah, that's a good chunk of points right there. 35 points. So I don't know. That's almost an assessment right there. Good question. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay. We will move on. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you guys about first is the daily quizzes, which is a good segue into Marissa's question. Have you guys done the daily quiz for today yet? For those of you who have, you can help us with these questions. So let's do these together. So why am I still considered, I'm sorry, if I live on my own, I am considered an independent student. Is that true or false? We're going to say false. Let's see. Good answer. Good. So the answer is false. Let's try another one. What form determines a student's eligibility for federal aid programs? FAFSA, taxes, exit form, or award letter? Believe it's FAFSA. We got some sharp shooters here. Good job. Okay, let's move on. Let's do the next one. This is Wednesdays. So there's a video to watch. Big Spaceship calls their workflow a framework rather than a process. We probably wouldn't know that answer unless we watch the video. I'm going to see if this one's correct. Yep, so the answer is true on this one. And then let's go to Thursdays. Another video to watch. A frame with a picture in it will have a colored fill. Is that true? What do you guys think? Right. Thank you, Marissa. Very good. False. It has an X. So a frame with a picture in it will usually have an X, or if you use a rectangle frame or a picture frame, you'll have, that's good for filling a picture. It doesn't have a colored fill unless you give it one. You can give it one, you just won't see it unless your picture is, if your picture is filled proportionately, you won't see it, but you can give it one manually, but automatically, no, it does not. Good job. Okay, so what is that, Thursday? Let's do one more. Okay, you can change the color of the stroke by making the stroke. What do you think? Think of the stroke icon on the toolbar. Does it have to be in the background or the foreground? The foreground, that's right. So when it's in the front, then you can change it. Exactly. Good job, guys. Nice. So we should have hundreds all around. We'll stop there. I'll let you do the weekends. If you do extra, whoops. If you do extra, then you get that as extra credit for the week. I think if you get more than 4 right, the rest is extra credit. So that's pretty cool. Let's go into assignments. Has anyone looked at week 3's assignment? All right. So hopefully this won't be anything new to you because we did talk about this in week 2. But this week's assignment is finishing up the newsletter. So you created a 4-page document. You only designed the first 2 pages, and now you're going to be designing the last 2 pages. So page 3 and page 4. So you will be working with the same document from week 2. Does that make sense? You're not going to do a new document. You're going to just open up the old newsletter file and work with that. So when you submit the file, it will be pages 1 through 4, because part of the grading will be, did you make the corrections with the feedback that I gave you? Have those been applied, those changes? And then it'll be graded on the layout and design and critiqued on page 3 and 4. So, okay, so we want to talk about the discussion. Let's move on. So what's confusing? Where are we? So basically, to sum it up, we're talking about page layout, right? Because we're doing a lot of assignments that require layouts, like your newsletter, like your ad designs. We're going to be creating a menu design for week 4. Page layout consists of just making a visual connection between all the types of objects on your page. That could include text, graphics, and images. So when we're talking about alignment, we're talking about, is everything lining up? Now I put a post in here talking about the CRAP model also known as the CRAP model. Maybe I haven't yet. Let's see, I thought I did. Yeah, here's part of a post. So finding the invisible line with the alignment. Now, are you confused as far as what your role is in the discussion or with the question itself? Okay, so you're basically posting what not to do in layout. And let me see if I can pull up an example for you. You might want to read up on this. CRAP, let's see. There's a good video we could watch. Anyways, it stands for contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. And so what that does is it talks about each one, and alignment in itself means basically aligning text or shapes. Now in my feedback to you, I would say, well, the last sentence of each column should line up. That's alignment. Or if everything's left justified, that's alignment. We want everything to lie flush with the page. So here's some examples of basically, basically pictures or layouts that use the CRAP model. Everything's lined up. Let's do, okay, here's one. Here's an example. This is a good example. Everything is right justified, so it's saying it's aligning here on the right. Subhead aligns right also. Consistency helps readability through the text. So it's just saying everything's aligned to the right so that it helps with readability. Now, misalignment would probably be something like this, where if something was off center, or perhaps in my example I posted, here's a bad example of what not to do. This Chic Geek, there is nothing that's aligned correctly. You've got text that's centered and off to the left. You've got the phone number and the email that's centered, but it's off to the right. And then you've got this random placement of objects. So I place the correct layout. See how everything is lined? There's a invisible centered line. Everything runs horizontal to that center line. So this is called alignment. So hopefully this is a little clearer. Read my post. This will explain what you're supposed to do. And then if you have questions after that, oh, here's my CRAP. So here's the model that you guys should be paying attention to. And then just do a little bit of Google research as to good and bad designs. But you're basically supposed to design a very bad layout. So we've been trying our darndest to lay out something that's good. I want you to do the opposite. And it can be anything on a picture. So just some elements, like this example. So this is correct because the phone number and email, the contact information is aligned to the left, same size, and the address is aligned to the right. There's this invisible line. Everything is lined up together. And then the logo hovers over it in the center. So this is all very proportional. There's proximity, there's alignment, we're talking about contrast and colors. This is good, but if you look at this one, it's all over the place. There's no hierarchy to elements and so forth. So does that answer your question a little bit? You do have to design an incorrect layout. So don't go crazy. It doesn't have to be hog wild. It just needs to be something as simple as making sure your elements on the page are not lined up properly. Oh, you're locked out of the discussion. Oh, okay. Well, hurry up and post. Okay, sounds fine. Go check it out, though. Once you log in, you can see my examples, and things will make a little bit more sense. All right, let me see if there's any other examples in here. Yeah, I'm not seeing any. So you'll probably just have to do some homework, I guess. But check out my examples in the discussion. Okay, so any other questions? These are great questions. Keep on coming. Do you guys want to go over anything? I'm still getting questions on how to package files. That tells me you guys aren't watching the videos or it's just very confusing. So please let me know if you have any issues and we'll go over it. Does anyone want a refresher? Okay. So let's go back to assignment 3. Can you download these zip files for me, please? Download them onto your computer. We're going to be using them today. And I wanted to let you know the rubric is posted for this. Okay, so download the zip files in assignment 3. Next, we're going to do the restaurant menu. If you can download this logo as well, we're going to do that this second half of class. So what is coming up this week, or I guess this week and next, and it's crucial that you get this started. Assessment 3 is kind of launching you into the final project because the final project will be to design 3 full menu pages. You've got your work cut out for you, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of last minute texts and phone calls and emails during week 4 because week 3's assignment, you got behind on week 3's assignment. So please try to stay up to date this week. Week 4, you're going to be designing a 4-page restaurant menu for Gino's Pizza Shack. This client is hiring you to design their menu. So keep in mind, they've highlighted here the principles and elements of design as you're going to be going over and learning in discussion 3. This is an opportunity to have fun and be creative. You will not have an example layout to copy. This will be solely your own take and design. You will be graded on creativity and the concept. I want more than just slapping a logo on an 8.5 by 11 page. I'm going to go over how to do some cover design. I want to show you some cover elements that I think you could include in your design. I want to make this final project as easy and as seamless as possible for you because I know it's come right after the holidays and everyone's going to be frantically trying to wrap up all the rest of the classes. So just please stay abreast on what we're doing on week 3 and week 4. This is crucial that we don't get behind. But you must have a concept. It doesn't have to be fancy, but like in our example that our tutorial we're going to go over today, I really need you to apply something, your spin on it. I need to see something that is yours. So with that said, go ahead and get those files downloaded. Does everyone have them downloaded? We're going to jump into InDesign. Awesome. Okay. So first things first, let's get let's do assignment 3. Let's do the final newsletter. Everyone pull up your newsletter. Let's go over the requirements for this one. Okay, and then I'm going to just clean up my desktop real quick. And then I'm going to share screen so that you can see my desktop real quick. I'll open these zip files so you can see what's in them for week 3's assignment, final newsletter design. This one, okay, so this one's the example. We just did this one, and that's the other page. So we already did this page and this page. Now we need to do page 2 or 3 and 4. Okay. So I'm going to keep this open. The next folder that I want to show you is this one. This one has, you must already have this one because we did this one during week 2. There's just some additional pictures in here that you're going to be using. Okay, so with that said, let's get our InDesign document open. If it wants to open. Give it a minute. Hang on. I have to reboot it. Sorry. Let's try it again. Why is it giving me trouble? Let's try it again. So I guess on that note, are there any questions before we launch into assignment 3? Sorry guys, it's taking its sweet time thinking about this. I may have to reboot it. Well, while it's loading, if someone wants to volunteer their screen, I can use you as my, you could be the instructor. I can step you through how to get it set up. The example page is best when it's locked so you don't grab it when you're moving things around. There it goes. Finally. Thanks for hanging in there. Okay. There we go. Okay. So you're still going to be graded on whether or not you had master pages and paragraph styles included. So we got to make sure we do that. Let's see. Let's pull in the example. Let's get our layers open. Window, layers. That pulls up that dialog box for me. Okay, on the example layer, I'm going to throw in my example, which is, this is the last page. I believe it's this page. I might have to place it the old-fashioned way. File, place. Downloads. What's this called? Week 3 sample. Week 3 sample newsletter. Should have this. No, Donna, I don't. One should be just fine. Okay, I don't know why it's not finding this. So weird. Well, let me drag it in. That's really random. I really hope I don't have to reboot. Let me try downloading it one more time. There we go. Is it not? There we go. Oh, I see. If it ever does that to you, it was locked, so that's why it wasn't letting me do it. Okay, I figured it out. Finally. Okay, so if yours comes in blurry like this, just do display performance, high quality display. So airport internet tips, it doesn't matter if it's in, well, the page numbers you have to have in order, but for the example, I think it's already out of order as it is. So let's see. It should be page 2. Here we go. I'm going to lock my I'm going to change the opacity of my example, lock it so that I don't get it confused with what I'm doing. I'm going to grab my type tool. So try to work with me. Show me, feel free to show me how you're doing, and if you have any questions if you get stuck. It's pretty much the same layout format as what we're doing in the next one. If you set up paragraph styles, then you're already ahead of the game because all you have to do is use those when you're filling your placeholder text. So let's use the type tool. Click and drag. Let's go to, I don't even know if I set up mine, paragraph styles. So I haven't done a headline yet, so let's do that. Headlines. That is a really good question, Stormy. So Stormy's asking, she said she did the newsletter last week. She did she did a different page for page 2, so she wants to switch them. And her question is, how does she take the second page to the third page and vice versa? So Stormy, if you give me just 1 minute, I will have you pull up your screen and I will step you through it. It's a very simple way to do it. Let's see. Let me just get this formatted real quick. Go to type, change case, uppercase. And I suppose we want bold condensed. That would probably be a good font. I'm using Helvetica. Maybe 40. Perfect. And again, you just want a rough placement of where it's going to end up. But you want to use your rulers and guides to center yourself on the page. Like that. And I know it looks silly, but that is centered. Okay? So, whoops. Let's try this again. Helvetica, bold condensed. 38. Hit OK. So now I have my headline set up, okay? This one's the same thing except it's much smaller. And it is not all caps. Whoops. It is title case. So again, I'm just going to center this using my smart guides. It's telling me that this is centered, although this is more like it. Okay. Okay, Stormy, if you would pull up your screen, and I will step you through how to do that. Okay, perfect. So if you can go to your pages, do you see your pages dialog box to the right there, top right? Click that for me. Okay, if you want to move a page to number 2, is that right? So can you pull that dialog box down for me so it's a little bigger? Yeah, just at the bottom center. Do you see that? Yeah, perfect. Okay, click on page 3 and move it above page 2. Up above, yeah, right there. Okay, so now that just rearranged the order. Now, did you use master pages to do a page number? Click on click on your master page. Okay, go to number 2. Hover over it, or click on it. Page 2. If you click on page 2 for me. Okay, perfect. So scroll down. Can you scroll down on page 2? There you go. So it looks like your A Master has been applied to that. Hover over page 2, the grade. Yep, it's got your A Master on there. Perfect. So your whatever footer you had on there, even when you rearrange pages, it will automatically correct the footer. So that will be the new page 2 as far as page numbers are concerned. Does that help? Does that answer your question? All right. Guess so. Okay, so let's go back. Any other questions? That was a very good question. This is page 4. So I'm going to go over here, last page, page 4. I'm going to drag this example. And whoops, I need to make sure I'm on my example. There we go. And I can lock it. Adjust the opacity. Perfect. Now I'll go back to my text layer. I'm going to scroll up on page 2. And this is just a matter of placing things. Now I wanted to go over one thing. You might have seen my comments if I said anything at all. And quite a few of you just had this minor thing where you would place a photo, and this might be a good example for your what not to do example in the discussion. And I'll get that lined up there. When you lay a photo out and you crop it, you're resizing the rectangular frame that it's placed in, it still has some image in there. If you double click on the picture, do you see that blue frame now that you see up here? That's the rest of the picture that you can't see. That's the true size of the photo. And what we need to do is resize the photo, fill the frame proportionately. If you've seen me make that comment, what you need to do is select your photo, go directly above to fill frame proportionately. And that will automatically fill that frame now. Now everything's centered and there's no extra blue. If you see extra blue, it's just because it's wider than it is tall or taller than it is wide, but it will center everything nice and pretty for you. So you don't have anything that's cut off or cropped funny. Another comment that I made was I wanted you guys to get in the habit of using these rulers here on the left and on the top. If you grab your ruler bar and lock it into place with your purple margin, this will allow you to see where your left alignment line begins. And you see this text, how it's all left aligned. Nothing goes over that line. That's what we want, especially when we're laying out our text boxes. Type tool. And I'm going to do my body text, layout. I'm going to fill with placeholder text. There we go. Yeah, were you missing any elements then, June? I think what I was referring to is page number. It looks like you need a page number and month and year. Month and year here at the bottom. Do you see that part in that example? So I'm going to create another paragraph style for my headers within my body text. Do you have that, June? Did you have footer, month and year? Okay, and just click Create New. This one becomes the subheaders. Then I'll go format it correctly. Helvetica. Let's do medium condensed. And I want it size 14. Yeah, the month and year on all the pages. I didn't dock you points if you didn't have the month and year, but you did get docked points if you were missing a page number. So like we went over in week 2, you needed to set up your footer in your master page. A lot of you did that. Some of you were missing that. So the page number was what I was looking for. This week, you're going to need to have the month and year and the page number formatted. Yeah, absolutely. So Marissa, this is what I'm doing right now for the subheader. Okay, I'm gonna double click. I added a new paragraph style right here. I'm gonna give it a title. I'm gonna go to basic character formats, give it my font. If you click preview down here, you can see it making the change so you know that it's formatting correctly. Helvetica new, I'll do a medium condensed on that one. Let's see. I think that's all. So, oh, I need a bigger size. Nope. Smaller. Okay, about 13. Hit OK. And then I'm going to go to change case uppercase because I want that to be uppercase. Probably could stand to be a little bigger than 13. So we'll do 14. Okay. All right, so that's my subheader. So now I added my drop cap because I already had that formatted, so that's pretty helpful. I'll grab my other paragraph. Now, this is another thing that I want to talk to you about. I wanted everything to line up. This is part of the alignment that makes a good layout, the difference between a good layout and a bad layout. So we'll go to type, fill with placeholder text. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Body text, do it one more time. Okay. So if you ever see, we turn off this layer so we can see. If you ever see your text like this in your columns, okay, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with my columns of text? The alignment, right. So this is what I'm talking about. If I took a ruler and dragged it from the top and placed it right on top of my photo, I would want my text box to line up right with that blue ruler. So now the top lies flush. It goes straight across. So let me get my pencil. Do you see that? How everything goes, it just lines up, right? But look at this gap. There's no text there. So that would be poor alignment. That would be an example of poor alignment. So to fix that, we need to line up our text box with the ruler. Okay, so that takes care of the top there. Now we need to fix the incorrect alignment down here. Because I saw a lot of this. I saw a lot of gap in text between columns. Okay, and we want to fix that. I don't want to see gaps. So the way we correct that is you bring down your text box like this, and it will fill it in. Now, if it doesn't, that means you just need to add a little bit more text in there. Not a big deal. But even then, is this correct now? If I took my ruler and dragged it all the way down to line up, this box needs to come down just a tad so it's all lining up correctly. Now, is this correct? Are all three columns lined up? No. Which one's not? The far right, absolutely. So I'll zoom out so we can see what's going on. It's lined up at the top, so I'm not going to move my box. Do you see that? I'm just going to grab my anchor point here and bring it up so that everything is lined up correctly. So I saw a lot of that. There was a lot of gap in text. It might not have been your fault necessarily. Maybe the text box did go all the way down, but there was no text. What you need to do is just add double click, make sure your cursor is here at the last letter, go to type, fill with placeholder text, and that will fill in the gaps for you, okay? So I'm looking to make sure, do we understand proper alignment? So even in your bad example, the incorrect example for the discussion, you could say, yeah, this looks good. Everything's lined up. Here's the picture even. Like now it's sitting within my column. That's a big no-no. Okay, and now look what happened here because I moved my picture. Look at that gap right there. You see that gap? So we don't want that. We want everything to lie flush on the left. So I can even grab my left ruler point. And I want everything to lie flush on the top. And I want everything to lie flush on the bottom. Now, it is more helpful to just place your text before you format headers. Okay, the reason being is if you format headers and you have to add more text later when you're rearranging the text boxes, sometimes it can mess you up, and I don't want that to be the case. So that's my suggestion. There's no right and wrong. Thanks, June. We'll see you. You can catch the recording. So again, I'm going to type this in. Have a great night. We'll see you. And just type it or click on subheader. Okay. And so I'll just do this throughout. Okay, so next I'm going to highlight this and go to subheader. And again, it's just helping me format this correctly. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to set this up for yourself. I'm just going through. All I had to do was set this up once, and now it's correcting it. So it's very helpful. Now, if you'll notice in this one, there's some bullet points. So we need to do some bullet points. Let's see, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a few bullets. How do we do bullet points? Okay. What you need to do is click on this button, Bulleted List, and it will go ahead and format your bullets for you. I'll turn off the example so that you can see what's happening. Okay. All right, so we've got about 3 bullets here. Now what I need to do is bring these bullets in. I need to indent them on the left. So I'm doing a left indent. If you go up here on your character formatting controls, look at left indent and increase it. If you increase it, it will shift the entire column of text to the left. There's another way that you can do it. If you just want to move the bullets in, you click on the one on the bottom, first line left indent, and it will move these in. So you can do a little bit of both there. All right. So a little confusing. I hope not. I hope this is pretty self-explanatory. So this is what it should look like. Any questions? Okay, now going off of alignment, I also wanted to let you know if I pull this top ruler and it lines up with the bottom of my picture, I want to make sure that my text is all aligned in the same place as well. So like right here, it's all lining up the same place, even across the other columns. So I want you to look at that. That's another form of alignment. Okay, so it's coming together. Next on our list, that's a good question. I used Helvetica Neue for the header. They're both the same. Helvetica Neue, let me show you my headline. Right there for the headline. So Helvetica Neue bold condensed, 38 point. And then for the subheader, I did Helvetica Neue medium condensed, 14 point. Yep, no problem. That's a great question. Okay, so let's see where we left off. So I've got everything pretty much aligned. Looks like these columns don't need to be indented. So I'm going to go back to the way things were. General rough idea. I need some more text at the bottom there. Okay. All right, so now we're going to need to put in this next section here. We need a yellow background box. I'm going to do the yellow box last because if I do it, it will cover up the example and I want to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to draw the text boxes first. Okay, I'll do 1, 2, 3. I'm just copy and pasting the text box. I'm also going to grab a ruler to make sure they line up at the top evenly. I'm also going to grab another ruler and line them up at the bottom evenly to make sure they're placed correctly. I'm also going to make sure that they come up to the columns evenly. Just like that. Okay, and then I will double click body text, type fill with placeholder text. That fills that in. I'll highlight the P, go to, let's see, drop cap. Same thing. I'm going to go to body text, type fill with placeholder text. Same thing with the next one. Type fill with placeholder text. Body text. Just double check that everything is formatted correctly. So can you see what a time saver these paragraph styles are? Instead of having to manually change them every time, all I need to do is select the ones that I've saved, and it completely formats the entire column of text, which is huge. All right, and then the last but not least, I'm just going to grab this, draw my headline. And then I'm going to format it. Okay, so that's formatted. Now I did about 24 on this. That might take a little bit of formatting, but now I need my yellow box. So let's see. Let's place this. Now I'm going to place it around my text. Grab my eyedropper tool. Let's see where we're at on the example. Yep, the eyedropper tool. It's awesome. Very helpful. So I'm just going to place that back there. Let's grab that eyedropper tool. Going to go to example. Unlock. There we go. And when I do that, it brings it to the foreground. So I just need to right click, arrange, send to back. Okay. So now you won't be able to see the background of my example, which is why I did that last, because I just wanted to make sure my text was formatted correctly. All right. Now, just a quick reminder, we need those footers. So if you don't already have a footer, yeah, Marissa, great question. So I drew a rectangle frame. I'm just copying the example. So the example's just hidden. If I bring the example to 100%, oops, there's the yellow frame, there's the yellow. So what I did was I just copied the yellow from behind it because the opacity is minimized, it's hard to see it, but that's why I saved the rectangle for last so that you could see what I was doing. Does that help? Okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, anytime I lose you, let me know. Let's go to pages, go to window, pages, and double click on your master. Here's the footer that we originally did, but you are going to need month and year. So I'm going to tab over a few times, and I'm going to do, what are we in, December 2015. Same deal as what's on your logo. Remember, you had to add that date on your logo. And then I'm going to format it so that it is Helvetica. That seems to be the font we're using. Helvetica, I'll do regular. And actually, yeah, I'll do a little, footers are very small. They're not very big. So I'll do about 10. You can even go smaller. 8. And I'm going to bold this one just for contrast. It's one of those elements in our CRAP model, right? We want things to stand out. So I'll do my year bolded. Okay, any questions on how to set up your master page? See you, Stormy. Thanks for coming. We'll see you guys tomorrow, too. If you have to go, there's open lab tomorrow. Yes, exactly, Marissa. You're going to apply the date using the master page. So I'm on the master page right now, and I just added the same footer that should have been on there in the previous assignment. And then I added the date and the year on the right-hand side. So now that it's on the master, if you double click on page 1, you'll see it's there. Double click on page 2, there it is. Page 3, there it is. Here's my layout. Whoops, this changed. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Marissa. So all I did was I just tabbed over. I do not know what I did, but okay. So yeah, I just tabbed over. I just tabbed my cursor over until I got my cursor where I wanted it. Exactly. Okay, so are there any questions so far about how we get page 2, page 3? I'll give you some time to work on it. We're going to take our 10-minute break right now, and then we're going to go, I'll let you do this one on your own. I'll show you how to do the numbers, the formatting. But other than that, I'm going to let you do this on your own. Then we're going to jump into the week assessment, the week 3 assessment, the menu cover, because this one's going to be a little bit more challenging in the sense that you don't have an example to copy. This is going to be all your own design. So it might take a little bit more time, a little bit more thinking, a little bit more conceptualizing. So we'll take our 10-minute break right now, and when we come back, we'll go into the menu design. All right. All right, we'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Okay, it looks like we're back. Thanks for hanging with us, Marissa, Donna. All right, are there any questions that you've run into while we took our break? And were there any grade questions, by the way? I know some of you have emailed me. If not, we'll move forward. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, let's quickly cover how to do the rest. Remember, we're going to do our headline. Oh, good. Marissa, I was just asking if you had any questions about grading. I think you emailed me. Just want to make sure you got your questions answered. I'm going to center this, align center, click on headline, oh, and then align center. I'm going to increase this until it gets roughly the right size. There we go. All right, and then the last picture, I'm just going to grab from the file. Oops. Click and drag. And again, this is going to require a little bit of cropping. And some of you, I noticed, when you would crop the photo, you didn't fill it proportionately. So we need to remember to do that. Otherwise, items get cut off. So after we've resized the photo, we're going to go up to the top here. Actually, I'm going to make sure I'm on my photos layer. Then I'll place it. Up here, fill frame proportionately. And now you can see the rest of her hand. So it just kind of centers the photo correctly. And then we just need text. So what I'm going to do to save time is go up here to these two columns of text. I'm going to copy those. Right click. Or I'm sorry, let's go to edit, paste in place. So they're already in there. This might require some rearranging around, but at least it's already there. And this one doesn't have. Oh. Going to type, fill with placeholder text. This will fill in the rest of my box. This one, see where we just want the columns to start at the same place. This one will require a little bit more. Now, in this case, we're going to need to do some numbered bullets. So instead of doing the bulleted list, we're going to do numbered list, just like that. Okay. Did everyone see how I did that? Do you need me to go back? And then I'm going to fill the placeholder text for the rest of it. Okay. There we go. And I just need to make sure to take off the headlines. I'll just fill with some other text here. All right. So that should be an easy way to do your next page. The footer is right there, and everything looks good to me. So that page should be pretty simple. Page 2 might take some time, but I just want you to focus on lining everything up, okay, to their baseline grid. And we'll go ahead and move on to the menu design now. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share here and regroup. Let me grab my other folders. So if you'll create a new document, let me share my InDesign. Let's do this. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears, do the assessment, which is just the cover of our menu design. Now, if you get ambitious and want to do a page or two, feel free, but you will only be graded on the cover this week. So we're going to go to New Document. Number of pages we need. Let me just double check before I steer you wrong. Anyone remembers how many pages? I've got a million windows open. Let me move things around. I think it's 4, but I just want to double check. Let's see. Yep, it's a 4-page restaurant menu. Okay, so 4 pages. We want 8.5 by 11. And this time we need a bleed. Now we haven't talked much about bleeds. We've touched on it, but a bleed is simply that extra 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch that allows your background graphic or color to bleed over on the page. So when the printer cuts it, there's not a odd or uneven white border around your layout. Instead, the colors will bleed over the edge just as they should. So it kind of helps with the printing process. 1.25 inches, and then I tab over and everything else should change. I'll hit OK. This is a new one. Oh, whoops, back up. I forgot to deselect facing pages. You're going to want to do that. We don't need it selected, so I'm going to redo that one. File, new, deselect, okay? Add the bleed, 0.125 inches. Add 4 pages. All right, first things first. So we're going to get our document set up. You will eventually need paragraph styles in this one too, as well as master page elements. But for the cover, we're going to focus on what you need to do to set it up. Now, we'll be using InDesign for this tutorial, and it's in fact encouraged that you design in this program, just like the other assignments, but you won't even need to download any images or graphics to do this assignment, which is the really cool thing. The menu designs are based around strong, striking typography and a simple, summer-friendly color palette for your Gino's Pizza Shack. Yeah, it's on the assignment. It's 1.25 inches. So if you ever need to refer back to it, it's just under the assignment dimensions. So first of all, why are we doing a menu design? Well, menus play a huge part in shaping a diner's experience. So I'll talk for a little bit while you guys are catching up, setting up your document. For better or for worse, we're aiming for the former. So whether you're creating a menu for a restaurant, a cafe, or a pop-up, or just simply looking for a way to wow friends with your skills, you can easily liven up the table with some simple to create and trendy summer menu cards, which is what we're going to go and do. And we're going to do this without needing to download any images or graphics. The only thing we needed to download was a few fonts. So hopefully you got those fonts in my email that I sent out. So let's begin. This shows the menu layout that we're going to be creating. It's going to be a one-sided single page menu at 8.5 by 11 inches with a 1.25 inch bleed. That's a 1/8 of an inch. Now, obviously, smaller menus can be created, but you'll get the overall concept in just a minute. So to set up the menu document, I showed you how to set the dimensions. And you'll notice this red border around your document. This is your bleed line. So all graphics or background need to extend to this line and not just the white border of the page. Does that make sense? So let's organize our layout. Okay, let's get our layers. This is the first thing you're going to want to do. Now, here's the tricky thing. You won't have an example to copy like we've been used to. Kind of takes away our crutch a little bit, but it does force you to be creative and to try to think outside the box a little bit. So we're going to expand the layers box here. I'll put it in the center so you can see what I'm doing. If you don't see your layers box, go to Window, Layers, or hit F7 on your keyboard for the keyboard shortcut. So you double click on layer 1. This will be border. You can give it a color, hit OK. Next will be the new layer. Layer 2 will be color. Hit OK. So you'll just be setting up your layers this way. Layer 3 will be typography or text. And once you have the sequence of the 3 layers, you're going to want to lock both the typography and color. So we're going to lock typography and color. This prevents you from being tempted to put it or place anything on this layer. So you're only working in the border layer right now. And in order to activate a layer, you need to click on it. So in order to activate the border layer, we need to make sure it's highlighted, as you can see here. Okay? So we want to build a border on your menu. We're going to start working on the on this front side of the menu, and we're going to go to, I'll move this over. So now we have our layers set up. Now we're going to do the border. I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, and I'm going to use this purple margin line as kind of my guiding point of where I'm going to have this rectangle frame be. I'm going to give it a black stroke so that you can see it. Okay. And you're going to want to open your stroke panel. So if you go to Window, select Stroke, this brings up all the options that we have within this box. So on the border layer, select, you can do the line, or not the line tool, but the border. So we're going to do, let's see, what shall we do? White diamond. I'm going to make sure my frame is selected first. Click on white diamond. Meter limit about 3. Oh, and the weight, I'm sorry, the weight is 3. The meter, I don't think we need to worry about. Do 1. There we go. All right, so that's about all we need. The color, I gave it a black color. And then we're okay with this. I'm going to move this over. So this is what it looks like. Can you see that? In fact, I'm even going to take this a step further. I'm going to go to the A master, paste in place. So now this is on my master. So now each page should have this border placed in the same place, okay? I might even put a footer here on my master, right underneath. Go to Type, insert special character, markers, current page number. I'll tab over a few times. I get to Gino's Pizza Shack. I'm going to format this to be Arial. I like a very thin font for the footer because I don't want it to be the star of the show, so I want it to be very subtle. And I like it to be small, so I do 8 point. Kind of tab it over until it gets to the very edge of that text box. When you see the dotted line around your text box, that means it is now a master item. I want a good amount of space between my border and my text box. I don't want it touching the border, okay? I want to give it some breathing room. And then I also don't want it too close to the end of my page, because remember, this is right where it gets cropped. So I'm just gonna have it hover right below my border. Everyone with me so far? Do I need to slow down? Slow down. Okay, sure, no problem. I'll give you guys a minute. Now you could do the border like this, or there's another option. I'm going to put this on page 1 regardless. On here, I'm going to just grab the line tool, and I'm not going to have the left or the right lines. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'll go to my stroke, black, I want it 3 point. I'll grab the line tool again, go all the way down here. So I'm not doing the border necessarily. This will give some breathing room, add some white space. I'm gonna wait till this purple line intersects my page. That means my Root Smart Guide is on, and that means I'm directly in the center of the page, and that's right where I want this next line to go. I'm gonna use my eyedropper tool to copy the formatting. By holding down Alt-Option, clicking and dragging, this allows me to copy. And this is going to be my divider, my little sections. And notice how my lines start and end. You see those green lines lining up the left side of my line and the right side of my line, and even the center, showing that it's not over, it's perfectly aligned. Again, we're talking about alignment here. Smart guides are very, very nice to have. Okay, so for the center here, I'll give it a little heavier weight. 4. And these will be my sections for all pages instead of the border. I'll have the border on page 1, but I'm going to override this. Just take off these and just leave a plain border for page 1. This kind of adds some contrast, so not all the pages are the same. So you can either do the border on all the pages, or you can do these dividers on all the pages, or kind of mix and mingle a little bit, whatever you feel like you want to do. With the cover though, so this pretty much lays out your 4 pages without even having to do much work. So that's the good news. Marissa, are we all caught up? Okay, cool. Okay, so let's go on. So we're gonna return to the layers panel. We're gonna lock the border layer now and unlock the color layer, the next layer up. Make sure we're on the color layer. Now your menu, you want to pick a fresh summery color palette. When I think pizza, I think greens and reds and just really appetizing colors. So your menu should look good enough to eat. That's the object. So color can play a big part in how attractive the menu looks and how optimistic people feel when they read the dishes. So we're gonna I'm gonna double click here. I'm gonna grab a nice bright color. I might wanna bring in the Geno's logo though, because I could pick a color from that. Let's see. There's Geno's, pull it in. I'm gonna make sure I'm on my color, there we go. I wanna center it. fill proportionately. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this just yet, so we'll just put it in the center of the page. For now, I want to give my page a nice color. And I'm probably going to arrange, send back, see what this does. Not the prettiest color. Or perhaps I could grab this. I'll just grab this green for now. I'm going to send this to the back because I have a border. This border here that I need to change to white. I don't know what it's doing here. Let's see. Oh, I see what it's doing. My layers need to be on top of each other. Here we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna change this footer to be white so it looks a little bit better. Just on this page since I need the reverse text. Okay. So, and then I'll go back to Marissa's question, just a quick question. Are we doing these exactly like yours, or can we do what we want? You're welcome to do it as I've laid it out. I'm showing you a simple, quick way to do it. So if you want to copy the tutorial, I'm just fine with that. If you want to do a spin off of it, that's just fine too. Just make sure that you incorporate the same contrast, proximity, alignment, those same things that we're learning into your design. You're not stuck on doing what I'm doing. I'm just trying to show you a fast way to do it. So yeah, and some students I've had kind of do plays, spin-offs of what I've done. Like I'll do a very basic layout and then they'll add some stuff to it or maybe use one or two elements of the things that I've done. So it's really up to you. But this is your baby, so just make it look good. All right, so now that I've got the colors set, I'm actually going to change this one more time. Sorry, it's bugging me. I need to make sure it's okay. I'm going to give it the values 46, 5, 87, and 0. I'll hit OK, and that will kind of lighten it up a little bit. All right, so now we've done most of this. Another thing that I wanted to do to add some flavor to, or flair to what I'm doing is on the master, I'm going to be bouncing around quite a bit. So you go to border. Another thing you can do is if you grab the color, you can do like a bottom border, and notice how that I'm having this extend all the way to the bleed line. See, like that? So that adds a little bit something. Okay, and now it's on all my pages. That's kind of cool. All right, let's go back to that cover because that's what we're really focusing on today. So we want to choose a fun, legible font for our menu. And the next layer we're going to work on is typography. So I'll lock border and color and unlock typography. I'll make sure I'm on this layer. I had you download some fonts. So the first font we're going to do is we're going to open the glyphs. We're going to go to type glyphs. And here's where it gets a little tricky. But within the font, let's go to the font, what's it called? Adhesive NR7. That was one of the fonts I had you download. That's a bunch of banners. So without needing to do or download any graphics, we just have a font and we're using their glyphs. So depending on the type of banner that you want, I've included one. So I'm going to draw this. I'm going to highlight. I'm going to make it very, very big. And this is going to be my graphic element on my menu. So Adhesive NR7 is a really nice font to use if you want banners. Again, I want this really, really big. Okay, I'm going to change the color to white. Okay, so the next step is you want to create a second frame using the type tool and type in summer menu. So I'll grab the type tool, click and drag, or Geno's, whatever you want to type in. Whoops, make sure you're on the right font. With this font, I'm going to do Great Vibes. That was the font I had you download. I'm going to kind of center it within that banner. It needs to be a lot smaller. Okay, everything's centered. Not centered. Now this text, I'm going to just copy the background so it kind of does that. I'm going to create another text frame and position it below the white banner. This is where I can type in one second. I'm going to pull my logo above it. Position my logo so it's just sitting on top of my banner. Anyways, my typography layer, I'm going to grab my type tool, click and drag. Again, I'm going to use my next font, which is the Josephine Slab. Now, I didn't download that one, so I'm just going to do one that looks similar for now. I'm going to make sure that everything is uppercase. Whoops. Okay, now I'm going to center this text and I'm going to increase the size. What's a neat way of increasing the sizes is once you've highlighted your text, go up here and highlight the font and then hold down Command and the up arrow, and that will help increase your font without having to go back and forth and trying it. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that my font is white. I'm doing a reverse text. This will add contrast to the rest of the menu because it's all going to be in black. black text. I'm going to spread out the tracking a little bit. And to add contrast, everything's kind of running into each other. I'm going to do a bold. Like that, so things stand out. And then I'm going to go one step further. If I go back to my glyphs, my glyph dialog box should still be up. If you type in Times New Roman and kind of scroll down, there should be a little, make this much bigger. This is what I'm looking for right here. So make sure your cursor's in there. Just these little dividers is what I'm giving it so that it doesn't all run together. Just adds a little something extra. And I don't want that big of a gap, so I'm just closing in the gap. Marissa, how are you doing? Am I moving a little too fast? Okay, good. You're pretty quick. You keep up pretty well. All right, so now that I've got my, and now the elements of a menu cover, I want you to kind of study it out a little bit, but some things that I think of are, one, the logo, two, the name of the menu. You have the company's name on there somewhere, whether it's in the logo or in the typography. I think the menu usually tells me what it's going to include, like an appetizer, the main meal. You don't have to have that, but we're trying to do more to our menu cover other than just slapping on the logo and calling it good. So in my case, I've added a border. I don't really like the footer on my cover, so I'm going to override my master items and get rid of this. I got to make sure I'm on the right. Where'd my layers go? My typography here. There we go. I'll get rid of that. Okay, so here's my cover. I don't think we need to do much more to it. Oh, that's right. There was one more thing, one more little touch we were going to give it. If you go to your glyphs and type in Davies, the font Davies, you get this really cool, these little icons. Well, there's one really cool icon with the pointing finger, and I really like that. It's right here. And I'm trying to see if I see it on here. Oh, you'll have to scroll down. It's the left and right pointing finger. So if I click on this side, double click to get the glyph inserted. I'm going to make it much smaller than the rest of the text. And then I'm going to put one right here. Copy the same size with my eyedropper tool. Whoops, I might have to do a separate text box for this. Okay. And I want an even amount of space between this glyph and the one on the right. So I'm going to hold on to this. If you hold Shift, it allows you to select multiple objects at a time. All right. So that's a nice little touch that you could add to it. Now you've finished the front of your menu cover. So this is it when it comes to work. There's not a whole lot of elements you need on a cover. You could even choose to make this logo super small. and then let this be the star of the show. But it's up to you. We do want some hierarchy, so I might shrink this down a little bit. Just make sure everything is centered on the page. Okay. Don't forget to save. Are there any questions? So at this point, if you have followed all these steps, you will have gotten a huge head start on the other pages. This is what they'll look like. And you didn't even have to do that much work. You only had to do it one time on the master. That's kind of cool. If you want, I can continue on what we're going to do on the inside pages. Yeah, that's a good question, Marissa. I just put it on the master page. So I can do that again real quick for you so you can see how that was done. So on the master, I included my footer. I also included my border color here down at the bottom. Let me grab my layers. And a lock typography, unclick border. So the way that I did this is very simple. I grabbed my line tool, and I'm using this purple margin line as my guide. If you hold down Shift, it locks your line so it's a perfectly straight line. I went to select white diamond under the stroke option. I'm going to give it a black color. Weight is 3. Okay, there's the first one. So I use my line tool. Can you see that? The line tool, and I just clicked it, hold down Shift, and it will keep the line straight. And that's how I did that top part. Now to do the middle part, I'm going to click my line tool, hold Shift to keep it straight, and I'm going to end right here at that pink part of my margin line. I'm going to bring this up a little bit and then find the center of my page until it locks into place right there. And I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool, and at this point it's already formatted for me. Just like that. Does that help? I'll do the others for you as well. Okay, where did I lose you? I can turn on your microphone since, okay, do you want to share your screen and I'll turn on your microphone so we could talk? That might be a little easier. Okay, so you're unmuted.
Okay. All right, share screen here.
Oh, whoops, sorry, let me close out of mine. Okay, go for it.
Okay. All right, so I've got my InDesign. Can you see my InDesign document over here?
Yep, and your border looks great.
Okay, and I don't even remember how I got that border.
Okay. You will draw a rectangle frame. So if you grab if you want to delete it, and we'll just draw another one. Grab your rectangle frame.
And I'm on border layer. Okay.
Yep. Click and drag, and I just use that purple margin as my guide. Yep, and then I just go and format it. So white diamond is what I use. Yep, there you go. So that's how you get the border. Now, if you wanted to just, in this case, I'm using the border on my cover, and to add contrast, I'm doing a slightly different layout to create sections on my inside pages. So I'm using the line tool. So I only use the border on my cover. So if you wanted to do the line tool, you just click it, same concept.
So basically just
yeah,
and click and fill kind of thing. Okay.
But if you want it to be straight, hold down Shift as you click and drag it across the page.
Right.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, and then you go format it, same concept, whether it's a line or a rectangle, it all will be the same.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay.
I have to do it sometimes in order to get it.
No, I'm the same way. So if I ever lose you, let me know and we can share the screen and I can step you through it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, so we'll go right back. So I'm kind of glad you had that question because a lot of students have asked me in the past how that happens. But yes, whether it's a rectangle frame or a line tool, it's all the same. And now I just, you can either draw another line to do the sections, or I'll go ahead and, Marissa, sorry, I'm getting some noise, but I will just, if you ever want to talk, I can unmute you. Okay, so if you grab this line tool, hold down Alt Option. This will help copy it. That's one way to do it, or you can redraw it. That's fine. And your sections will look different as you're trying to fit content, but for now I'm just trying to get the basic overall layout. Just making sure everything lines up correctly. And so this is how I did the inside pages. So my cover will have the border, and the inside pages will have these subsections. Now, as you can see, when I added an element, it went ahead and included it on my cover, and I don't want that. So if I right-click on my page 1, override all master items, this allows me to delete any items I don't want on this page. Okay, and it only applies it to this page, this first page. All right, save your work. And then on page 2 or page 3, now I've already got my pages pretty much laid out. I only had to do it once. So this is a huge time saver, especially when you're working with multiple pages. So this would be good for the cover. Things I'm going to be looking for in your creative concept, I want to know I want to know color and font theme. I want you to stick with fonts that are either in the Geno's logo, so a sans serif like Arial or Helvetica, or a Times New Roman, or Minion Pro. Let's see what else we've got in here. Let me find where I placed it. What layer I put it on. There she is. Just try to stick to fonts that are in here. A sans serif. I know some students see this Bon Appetito and they want to create a very fancy font, and then they go hog wild with fancy font throughout their whole menu. Cursive font should be used very sparingly. I don't like to see a whole lot of it, especially in your body text. When you start having your menu item descriptions and prices, try to steer clear of the fancy cursive fonts. I know it's tempting and we think menu, oh, we're going to go 5-star on this. It's not always the case. In fact, you'll find it quite the opposite. You find very clean font whenever there's heavy text. So the inside pages should only be sans serif or maybe a serif font, and that's it. There's another font that a lot of students gravitate towards, and they just love to use it like crazy, and I really don't want to see this. Not only is it outdated, but it dates your work, and it looks very, what's the term? What's the word I'm trying to use? Amateurish. And we don't want to come off that way when we're designing. So it's Apple Chancery. There's another font that looks a lot like it. So stay away from this font if you can. I know it's tempting, but try using the fonts that I gave you. Those are a little bit more modern, a little bit more current, and kind of adds a little bit of design element to it, and it's very easy to read still. Some of the fancy fonts are hard to read. So that would be my suggestion. That's what your cover could look like. You're welcome to copy my example. You're welcome to do a spin-off of my example. Just remember to use hierarchy, where we put the more important elements. More important elements are bigger, less important elements are smaller. We still want to maintain readability, but we don't want to overpower the page. Don't be afraid of white space. That's okay. Inside pages, we can go and do more. I just think this would be a good, if you can get this far with these 4 pages laid out with your master elements, I'd call yourself ahead of the game, because then you only have to copy and paste the text and format the pictures. So that's the easy part. Let's see, it looks like we're out of time right now, so I'll go ahead and end open it up for questions. Marissa, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bring your assignment, work in class with me, and let's try to get this final project done. Again, anyone who brings an assignment to class will either get a chance for a resubmission or regrade right in class. So I'm offering that chance to have your grade changed on the spot. So take advantage of that. And as always, if you can't make it to me, my open lab, there's other instructors who have open labs that are open to you. And those schedules have been posted, as well as the Success Center and the Class Tutor. So lots of options for you guys. Thanks, Marissa. We'll talk to you later. Okay, so just email me. Again, sorry for the schedule change this week. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. And bring your questions. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.